has a blowhole. I'm gonna interrupt the 164 stuff for a little bit to just shout out how good Einstein Brothers coffee is. And because I'm in town for a month and now I'm working on a little bit of a tight budget, I may not be able to get the 164 completely finished in a month just because the machine shop and the parts could take a while to get here and all that. So what I'm doing in the meantime, and to have my own wheels so I can be a little bit more mobile and I'm not sharing mother's car, I will be buying a Volvo 240 today. Let me show you that. I'm in the university area, or close to it, and just Albuquerque's charm is all in these like cute little stucco homes. They are just so awesome. And with the chili ristras hanging down, some of them have those little blue doors, just great accents. And they're real cute when they're maintained, but you can see here an example of one that's just sort of been let go. And the trouble with some of these is the flat roof does not drain rainwater, so every once in a while you're having to get the asphalt guys on the roof again to patch up all the flat surfaces that have just pooled and leaked into your house. But I digest. We're here to talk about Volvos, and there's two 240s in this yard right here, so let's poke around a little bit.
This car has really just been sitting here for the last year.
Okay. Okay. 1990. Very good year. Little delay on that, but we'll get it sorted out. She's got wheels. She's got a sunroof. Let's see how these are doing. She's got water. I just rewatched the video where we were working on the switches.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just kind of like trying to remember, you know, when it was the last time I ever saw this car.
I think it was probably...
It was like November of 16.
Yep. We did Guys and Dolls in summer of 16.
Man, I miss the theater so much.
I know.
So much.
I know. But yeah, I've had this car since about 10 years.
Okay. 10 years, that's great.
Yeah. Do you want me to...
Cool. It's nice and clean in here still. It's nice to see.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, are they waiting for us?
Let's at least get it out of the driveway.
Yeah, that feels all right. Ooh, she shifts nicely. And let's see if the odometer works too. Odometer's rolling. Brakes feel okay. I'm gonna go up to a main street, give her the beans, and hope for the best. I mean, it's an old Volvo. It's not gonna be anything but, let's say. I'd love to see if this will open. Oh, hello. Let me not push my luck. I'll leave it right there. Hope you stay on. Good. Good. All right, we hit 45 miles an hour. It's great. This car's mine. My whole purpose in buying this is to have something to drive around town while I'm working on the 164s, and if it's a good daily driver for me here, I'll use it in LA. I've got that Eclipse that needs to go, but first things first. She feels great. Heated seats, fog lights, and that's about it for accessories. There's a radio, there's a clock, there's a battery, there's gas in the tank, and a very clean interior with a working sunroof. Feels a little loose in the front end. I don't know if it's a steering issue or if it would like some struts, or it might just be tie rod ends or maybe even ball joints, but I'm gonna give it a real thorough look once over. This is so fun. Here, go ahead and flip through it again.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
So you've got some pretty vintage looking things in here.
What do you know about the people that you bought it from?
Well, I actually purchased it from... I'm trying to remember. It's in here. It wasn't. Yeah. It was through a dealer.
Nice.
So have fun with this stuff.
I will. And do you have your receipts from the services you had done, Master's Touch and all that? Okay.
I do not.
time for a point of view drive of this car. In 1990, this would be using Bosch LH 2.4, which is the best of the fuel injection systems available in the 240s. That started in 1989. 1988 was the first year where the wiring had no problems, so if you get an 88 and newer 240, it's going to be great. Some of the cosmetic things, you see the plastic on the side here has fallen apart, and that's very common, especially at the bottom of the doors. The top of the door plastic is also faded. The cowl is full of leaves, which is typical for any Volvo that sat under a tree. Faded yellow headlights. Funny how the turn signals never do that, but always the headlight lenses. A little steel wool will clean those up. And onto the interior. It's a blue on blue on blue on blue. It's actually really kind of cool. I really dig it, but I never really cared much about the four doors because to me either the coupes or the wagons were cool, but as you get older, and maybe that's part of it, it just seems better to fit full adults in the rear, not have them climbing in through seats. And there's less cabin noise in the sedans, and I do like having a trunk for your goods. They can hide in here versus being exposed in a hatch. We'll get into what's in the trunk later. You can see it's real faded everywhere. First thing I'm going to do is get her all shiny, but I want to take you on a little point of view test drive because these things, well, it's kind of fun to experience what a 240 might be like through a video if you haven't driven one before. 167,000 miles, which is what I consider low mileage. A little bit of belt squeal there, no problemo. Could use a battery, but you know, if it sits long enough, they die. And then this radio is so outdated, it doesn't even have an aux jack on it, which is okay, but it looks like it's been installed professionally. Does have airbag only on the driver's seat. There's no passenger airbag on the 240s. And as I cycle through the gears, I want to feel if there's a big shake or clunk. Air conditioning does not work naturally, but this would have the R12. It was 1993 that was the first R134 system. The headliner is in good shape, the door handles are in good shape, the sedans, and I think the coupes would get better sun visors than the wagons, but the coupe stopped in 1984, so all the later body styles will just be sedan or wagon. One thing I always listen for is the fan. I need that to be making a lot of noise. It tells me that the hydraulic clutch on the cooling fan for the engine is working, so it makes a big whooshing sound below 2,000 RPM. Acceleration is kind of boring and linear, but it does shift very smoothly, and I was happy with that. You'll hear as I get into some of the bumps on the streets, the cracks in the road, the lower control arm bushings, and the ball joints have a lot of wear in them, so it clunks pretty badly. There it is. The struts feel good, the strut mounts look really good, and I think they have been replaced in the last few years. This was a car that, oh hey look, oh, is that a Passion Red XC90? That's so great. It's not a V8 though, but I tell you what, I keep having dreams about these things because I really miss mine. It's on loan. It'll be back in a few months, but I haven't sold it. But it's cool to see another Passion Red. It's just such a great color. Yeah, the side-to-side sway is not bad, but it would definitely benefit from the IPD sway bar upgrades. Now listen to these bumps. Yeah, she's a bit clunky.
Driver's license last week, just like we always
Huh, is that song apropos or what? As we saw earlier, the car was a little delayed in its response for the throttle input, so if you kind of stab the pedal, it'll have a bit of a dip. We'll take a look under the hood. I think a lot of that's just going to be cleaning of the idle air control circuit, the throttle body, and the mass airflow sensor. Even the windows are blue. Can you believe it? Look at this faded paint. Oof. And pretty dusty underneath. Not so bad. It wasn't like a dirt road car. It does have cruise control also, and it works. So how's it looking here?
Ball joint.
Yeah, them ball joints could use a good replacing. Never done control on bushings on this car, so I'll make a video on that. You can see the marks on the strut mount where somebody had aligned it, possibly at the time of replacement. That valve tick is kind of normal for these. It's a lot quieter than Sarah's red 240 wagon. Uh-oh. What's going on there? She's been sitting a year, so we'll start with some fuel treatment. But look at that, 166,000 miles. That was like 2,000 miles ago that belt was replaced, which is great. In the direct sunlight, and it's real intense out here, and there will be water spots, but I'm gonna wax it later today, so it'll be fine. This, if you remember, Super Clean sent me some products for the 164s, but the wheel cleaner here is gonna be great for these grimy wheels. The wheels here are freshly painted, so there's no dirt on them. But look at the grime. Pretty nasty on the front, because that's where all the brake dust is for the majority. Backs tend to be okay, but we'll give this a shot and see how it does. And yeah, first thing I do when you get a car, wash the thing. The cowl is full of leaves. The sunroof is full of leaves. Let's get them out. They don't have wind in Vietnam because she's dancing all over the place. Go back to the American way. I love this windy weather. As soon as it's dry, it's covered in sand again. So I'll pull it in here, and as soon as it's cooled down, I can get to waxing. I'm gonna use a new finish because this is not a paint job I need to be excellent. I just need it to be better. You know why I love Volvo? Because I'm coming at you from the top of the garage where the foam ceiling tiles have started to fall, and you can't do this on other cars. They're just so sturdy. Fixed. Let's have a look here at how it is before. I took off the sunroof cap the visor, should we call it? It's just 2 screws, but that'll be a place to note the tan lines. You can see how what we're expecting to get a little bit of that back because it was completely shaded. And here's the division line, okay? And we've got 2 big tan lines on the roof. Funny how that goes.
Along the trunk. Oh, this one is just the worst. It sounds worse than it is, but it's also blowing a lot of things around. Okay.
Along the side, can you see the hubcap? A little bit. Let's see how much more shine we can get out of that. I like that it's faded almost all the way. Gives it a little bit of a chrome look, but you know, that's technically not right, but I don't mind. I did take some steel wool to the headlights. It's a little improvement. Okay, here we go. The once-a-year car polish. Wash and dry, dampen the applicator, apply sparingly, let it dry to a haze, and then buff it off. Turn the cloth frequently. Yep. It says don't use on vinyl tops, trim, flat black paint, or simulated wood panels, so I'm going to avoid getting it on the plastics. All right, this is a 3-hour time lapse. I started at 4, ended right at 7, took a little lunch break in the middle, but it ended up being very difficult to use new finish because it keeps taking off any loose paint and it just gets you right down to a clean surface. So what I had to do, instead of going over every panel 3 times, is I clay barred it, and then I had to go over every panel 3 times. So that was a better approach at the end, because now she got some shine in her. Check this out. There are streaks from the new finish. There's the peeling clear coat right here, but it is much smoother. And reflections in the door. You can see all the new, now we can see all the dents. Smudges, smudges, smudges. I redid the trunk 3 times, but wow, she's much nicer now. Still got to do the spotter on the license plate. I forgot about that. Taillights could use a replacement, but they're not bad. And the roof. Not great, actually. This was the one I did first and last, so yeah, I got the most that I could out of it. Okay, nice to have all these lights in the garage. Windows are clean, that makes a big difference. Took some steel wool to the headlights, as I said earlier, and that helped a little. Could use a wax on those, we'll see what we can do. But let's go get some photos in the sunset while I can, and then I gotta get to pulling that engine. Beluga has a blowhole. I've decided to name her Beluga. 1990 Volvo 240. And I think she cleaned up quite well. I have taken so many pictures of Volvos here. Cute. Oh, I told myself I'd stay away, but I just haven't been able to. These cars have a lot of charm. Came with matching sun visors right there. First of all, there's a trunk light. Never seen that before, but I don't think I've ever had a 244 this late in the model years. So there's the book with all the information, the title, the second tire that has no rim on it, and the spare with the toolkit and some chemicals there. A blanket, the remote for the radio, hand tools, an ice scraper. It is New Mexico after all. The cool thing is to see how much of the body styling from this model is shared with even the 140. It almost looks like you could just swap the doors right over. The later 140s and the 164s, 73 and onwards, yeah, absolutely you could. These door handles go all the way back to 1973. For 1992 and perhaps even 93, they were black. There's a trim clip, or about 4 or 5 of them missing there. Sounds like she needs control arms pretty badly. Oh yeah, I didn't do any cleaning under the hood yet, but you can kind of see what's out there in the market. It's just this car was parked after it started needing more work than the owner wanted to put into it, and I'm guessing that's all suspension because timing belt is less than 2 years old. There is an oil leak either at the valve cover or the head gasket on that side. No doubt the back of the valve cover might be leaking too. But you know, she runs and drives, and more importantly, I feel safe in this car. That delay right there is a little troubling. I'm gonna have to give it our tune-up. That should help. All right, there you have it. There's my Beluga. I gotta put the wheel covers back on at some point, but for now, she's all right. So I tightened the 3 bolts that hold down the throttle body. It'd be funny if there was a 4th one, but I only felt 3. And the cap looks good. I might adjust the idle speed, the throttle position switch. I'm just gonna clean that and the mass airflow sensor and the idle air control motor, and essentially check my spark plugs for their quality, check the cap and rotor, check the wiring to it, just clean up the grounds too. All that stuff helps the car run better. And I don't have working AC, but it looks like somebody has replaced it. So I'll try to hook up some 134 in there and see what happens. Well, I'll do a vacuum test first. I'm working on the sunroof now. I wiped down the most dirty spots, and I'm gonna remove these, which will expose the cables. And I wanna grease everything after I take the dirt out. It's peeling. You can see on that side how it's kind of fallen underneath the trim. That trim is sun beaten, and some of the fabric that surrounds it has fallen apart. But you know, for the most part, it works, and I want to make sure that it operates smoothly and we don't strip any of the plastic teeth in the sunroof. That would be tragic. And then later I can put this sun visor back in, because without it, it does the reverb effect with the wind boop, 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 inside the cabin, which is no good. Well, I used the super clean and degreaser, just general stuff. Used that to clean the sunroof cable tracks, and then I just oiled them up, and I used that to kind of wipe down the engine bay. Clean engine bay makes it easier for me to work, and I feel happier. Also did the inside of the hood. You see a couple of streaks there, but this stuff did a pretty good job at getting all the dirt off, and the towels are black from just all the dusty, greasy, dirty stuff. Valve cover cleaned up real nice too. This cuts through oil, no problemo. You just need a good old towel to get through that, and that's something that I didn't have. I had pillowcases and old kitchen towels, which are notoriously bad at absorbing moisture. So that's gonna just sit overnight now, and I gotta order some parts, lower control arms mostly, ball joints. That's, yeah. She's ready for another day of driving.